Hi everybody, Ollie here, aka Secret Nimbus here for another mod spotlight. So for today's episode I'm going to be looking at EnderIO Conduits, as you may have seen in the title. Now this is going to be a slightly different format to my previous mod spotlight, in which instead of kind of being all kind of serious and all planned out, I'm going to try and do it a little bit more ad hoc this time, kind of a bit more spontaneous, and try and get it done in a lot shorter time, and then see how it goes, see how the two formats compare. So it'd be nice if you can leave me some feedback down in the comments. But what are we going to be looking at? So what I want to have a look at today is the EnderIO Conduits. Now these are kind of EnderIO's answers to things like thermodynamics is what's the word I'm looking for? Thermodynamics is like fluid ducts, item ducts, the ducts. That's what I'm looking for, the ducts, and then things like energy conduits as well that they have in there. But we're going to be looking at the EnderIO version. So they're kind of broken down into kind of 3 or 4 basic tiers. So you've got things like the energy conduits. So you start off with your basic ones. If we have a quick look at the recipe, so all of these conduits are based around this conduit binder. So have a quick look at the recipe for this. You get it from smelting up binder composite. So for 1 binder composite you get 4 conduit binder, and then the recipe for the binder conduit is nice and simple. It's just gravel, sand and clay, so kind of very common materials that you can find out in the world. Now you smelt that up, you get a load of conduit binder, and then you can start start making the rest of your conduits. So things like the energy conduits have conduit binder top and bottom, and they kind of progress through things like conductive iron, energetic alloy, and vibrant alloy as you go through. Things like the fluid conduits use glass, and then you've got kind of an upgrade from quite clear glass up to fused quartz. Then we've also got they finally got the ender fluid conduit, which have an instant fluid teleportation, which is fairly crazy if you can make it, which is vibrant alloy and fused quartz. And then finally we've got the item conduit, only 1 type of these, and you make them using the conduit binder and the pulsating iron. And then we've also got the ME conduits. Now these are an extension of the conduits that you get, also what would be the cables that you would get from ME. So you can use these in your applied energistics network, your ME network, instead of using the kind of the potentially more expensive, well, they kind of got a similar kind of cost. So they require things like flux crystals and quartz fiber plus conduit binder, but they have the slight bonus, which I'll show in a minute, of the fact that they can take up the same space as any one of these other conduits, which is probably the main reason why you'd want to use these. I don't know why blood magic is appearing. I think it's just one thing has the word conduit. So yeah, so let me just demonstrate what the main advantage of these conduits is. So say for example we want energy conduits, fluid conduits and item conduits. Now usually in something like thermodynamics you'd have to have your energy conduits, your fluid conduits and your item conduits all in different block spaces like so. But the benefit of using these EnderIO conduits is, watch this. So you've got the energy conduit here. We can actually have some. So what we've got here, we've got energy conduits running down the middle, we've got fluid conduits, and we've also got item conduits all working in the same block space. How incredible is that? That is really cool. We can also have, like I said, we can have the ME conduits also running in there as well. We can have redstone conduits all running through, which is fairly sweet. Is there any other kind of conduits? I don't think so. What we also probably want is the yeeter wrench. Now this is EnderIO's version of the kind of the wrenches that you get from other mods. Maybe back to conduits. So what this can do is, while it can kind of wrench up kind of things like conduits similar to any other kind of like crescent hammer or something like that, like so. We're not really sucking these up as we're on creative, but you can wrench things up using this. But what you can also do is, if you look in the bottom right hand corner, you've got kind of like several boxes. Now what you can do is, if we hold shift so we can crouch, and what we can then do is highlight particular conduits, so we only have to look at the particular conduit that we want to kind of wrench up. So we can wrench up that particular one, go back to all, and that one's disappeared, but the rest of them are still there, which is quite nice, and they can always replace it later on as well. So we can select energy, redstone, so this is kind of just transmitting a redstone current, I think. I'm not entirely sure, don't quote me on that. We can then just look at the fluid conduit, the item conduits and the ME conduits, which is quite nice. So yeah, that's the brilliant thing about the yeeter wrench, as opposed to something like the crescent hammer, which wouldn't allow you to do that. Another thing you can do is we can actually use conduit facades and something called the painter. So not the painter, the painting machine, sorry, my bad. There it is, painting machine. So if we drop one of them down, let's get a creative energy cell. Wherever they've gone, there we go, one creative energy cell. Et voila, plonk you down there, like that. What we can then do is we can put in some of these conduit facades into here. We can then get a block such as wood, like so. We can drop that in there. It'll start painting these conduit facades in wood. So let me just go back to conduit. Now what we can then do is grab this conduit facade, and actually if we drop that down there, all it looks like is blocks of wood. But then if we highlight something like the heater wrench or the conduits on our hotbar, so as you can see the difference, when we've got the creative energy cell there, we don't see anything but oak wood planks. But when we've got either a conduit or the heater wrench highlighted, we can actually see through the conduit facade. I'm not sure if you can knock them up or not. Ah, right, you can just bash them up. So say, for example, you had like an axe or something, I suppose that would also work. Just plonk that down there. I don't know why I'd want to do that, but I just made a hole in the ground, so whatever. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So let me just bash that up. Right, let me just show you that even though they're all in the same block space, you can actually kind of use them all simultaneously. I don't really want the redstone one there, as I don't really find that useful for the things I kind of do. So let me go back to highlighting all. So say for example we want to so we've got a creative energy cell which we can put down there. So that's going to start putting power in. As you can see, it's now got 640 RF, or if we go into here, yep, it's got RF in it, which is quite nice, thanks to the creative energy cell. We can also put in something like, say, let's get some chests, like this. So we can grab a chest, put a chest on there, and I'll show you, if we put that above the block, I can show you it kind of sucking things in and out in a minute. So we'll put some things in and out. So let me then go to, let's get rid of the painting machine. Can I actually click on that, or is it just going to be, it's going to be a faff in it? There we go, that's what I wanted to do. So I just want that to insert. You can also have different channels. So say for example, so let me show you this. With the item conduits, you can also have channels as well. So we've got that inserting into there. What we can also do is have this inserted, and this would be a brown channel. So say for example, I've put something like, I don't know, these redstone conduits into there. Let me kind of dig my way into here. So what I can then do is I can set it to extract, active without signal, so it will just pull things out. And what it'll do is actually put the redstone conduits in there, but not in there, because we've got a slightly different channel, which is quite cool. Let me also then show that here. So if we then go to this side, yep, there we go. So active without signal, channel brown, then we drop in something like these ME conduits. It won't put it in there, but it will put them in there. So that's another cool thing that the ME conduits, the ME item conduits will do. What am I on about? It's not even ME stuff. Just the item conduits will do. They will kind of, you can set channels as well, which is quite sweet. I'm not entirely sure if you can do it with, I have to double check whether or not you can do it with tanks as well. But what I'm going to do is just bash that up. So I showed you it working with the item conduits. And like I said, they will pull things out automatically, if you do the active without signal. You can also have active with a signal, so you could basically switch it on and off. What we can also do, if we go back to conduit, you can filter things as well using these item filters. So if we go back into here, we can have the basic item filter, which you kind of get a little list here, which you can whitelist or blacklist. You can also match metadata. That's a basic item filter. We can also have an advanced item filter. So if we take that out, like so, we get more slots. We can also then use the OR dictionary and match the NBT. I'm not entirely sure what NBT is again. That's probably something I should have looked up. Never mind. But yeah, so you get more item slots, and then you can also use the OR dictionary as well, which is quite cool. So you can then use the item filters for the item conduits. What else can we do? We've also got other different filters as well. We've got existing item filters, so selects only items already in the inventory. So that's pretty cool. So if you've got like a chest which has, you can basically only pull out items which are already in an inventory, I think, which is quite nice. And we've also got mod item filters, so we can only pull out items of certain mods. So you could probably create some kind of sorting system from that. So you could, for example, only pull out items from a particular mod if you've got like a dump chest, which would be quite nice indeed. You then also got the the item conduit speed upgrades, which we make using just a load of iron and some electrical steel, which you get from the alloy smelter. So iron, pulverized coal, and silicon, which you get from pulverizing sand. You've also got the speed downgrade. I don't know why you'd want a speed downgrade of all things, but hey ho. Let me just have a quick look at some of the recipes for these. So for the basic energy conduits, which output 640 redstone flux per tick, you need conductive iron, which you get from the alloy smelter by combining redstone and iron. The next one up, so the advanced energy conduit, which has an output of 5120 RF per tick, that requires a combination of redstone, gold, and glowstone to get you some energetic alloy. Finally, the vibrant alloy is a combination of the previous energetic alloy and an ender pearl, and then you just combine that with conduit binder. Then we've got the quite clear glass, which you get from just smelting up sand in an alloy smelter, not any other kind of smelter. You've also got fused quartz, which you get from smelting up three quartz in four quartz combines to make one fused quartz in an alloy smelter. The ender fluid conduit is a combination of that vibrant alloy and the fused quartz. And then finally, the item conduit you get from pulsating iron, which you then combine, which you kind of break down into nuggets, and you get that by smelting together iron and ender pearl in an alloy smelter. In terms of a conduit facade, that is just a ring of conduit binder. You can also make a hardened conduit facade, which is blast resistant. We've then also got things like the redstone conduit for transmitting redstone signals, which you get from redstone and silicon in an alloy smelter. Conduit switch, I'm not sure what this is used for. I'm assuming it's probably something to do with redstone signals, but I don't really use this kind of thing, so I'm not entirely positive on what they do. And then finally, we've got then insulated redstone conduit. I'm assuming that these won't connect or something like that. I'm not sure. But yeah, so is there anything else I'm missing? So we've got conduit probe. So in probe mode, okay, so that will basically show details about its network. And then in terms of the ME conduit, we can then use that to, what I like about the ME conduit is that unlike kind of, we've also got dense stuff as well. So this will hold 8 channels, this will hold 32. So unlike, if we go to ME cable, if we go to cable, sorry, let me grab some, what am I looking for? Just want some ME cable. So ME cable fluix, that's what I want. There we go, whoopsie daisy. And then we also want some dense cable. Where's dense cable? There we go. Any dense cable will do. So if we drop this down like so, so that's what ME dense cable looks like. So that takes up like a whole block and it looks fairly ugly. Whereas the ME conduit, ME dense conduit, nope, that's not right. That's just ordinary ME conduit. What we want is ME dense ME conduit. That's what we want. So the dense ME conduit looks like that. The ME dense conduit, so the ME dense cable looks like that, and then we've also got fluix cables which look like this. Oops, sorry, that's them connecting up, which I did not anticipate. So they look like that. But one thing that I wanted to check out was if we go into, let me have a quick look. So I'm thinking drive. Yep, drive, and so if we drop this down, say here, and then there. I'm sure on my test pack please ignore world, because I'm playing on Infinity just because I think there's a lot less tweaked recipes on this one. It does sometimes tell you kind of how many, hang on, if we go to ME controller maybe? Let me try that. ME controller, there with a creative energy cell. Is it going to tell me, because I'm sure like I said on test pack please ignore, it tells me how many, what's what I'm looking for? Let me have a quick look for crafting terminal. Here we go. One crafting terminal. I'm sure it should tell me how many channels I'm using, which is quite cool. Is it going to tell me? No, it's not. It's really weird. So yeah, in test pack, please ignore. I don't know if it's my texture pack or whether it's something I'm doing wrong, but it sometimes tells me how many channels I'm using. So maybe I need my wrench. Maybe I'm not sure. Nah, it's not going to tell me on this particular mod pack. Never mind, it's not the end of the world. But sometimes on test pack, please ignore, it'll actually tell me how many channels I'm using, whereas this kind of the ordinary vanilla stuff doesn't, which is quite nice as well. Now, is there anything I've missed, or have I gone pretty much through all of the ME conduit stuff? I think I've pretty much gone through all that I want to do. So yeah, that's just a kind of a quick look at the ME cables. So, oh, I never did show the fluid cables working, but it's not the end of the world. I have basically showed everything else working. We can also show something like the, I don't know, what am I looking for? Oh no, that won't power up like that, will it? Oh no, that is powered. That's weird. So okay, apparently on this one I don't even need to use some kind of energy converter. It's just putting power straight in there. Okay, whatever. Let's bash up that painting machine. Do I still have some? Yeah, let me just show that it will power up through the cables. There we go. So it's powering up from the conduit through the cables, which is quite nice as well. But yeah, I think I will leave the episode here for now. So as always, guys, don't forget to comment and like if you enjoyed this mod spotlight, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.